The
Okay.
webinar has started.
Yeah, I'm on. I like that light behind you. It's like the glow light, old school, something 1980 circa whatever.
It's my salt lamp, my
Oh,
Himalayan salt lamp. Hey, in a pinch, I could always bring my grinder and grind a little up for dinner.
yeah. Okay, fine. That'll work. All right. Lots of people coming on here. I know we got some very cool stuff to do here today, Hubert Lee.
Yes, welcome in. Look at all these people. Early bird arrivals. Hello,
Yep.
Bob. Hello, Art. Hello, Gene. Fede. Nice to see you, my man. Linda, Santia, Rusty. Appreciate all of you.
Yep. We're gonna do some very cool stuff today.
We do.
I
I have some teaching to do.
and I like the business cat invites you to the thing. Where
Oh,
did that come
see,
from?
so I believe in simplicity, okay, and keeping things simple. If you want engagement, show a child or a cat, maybe a puppy. Okay, so folks, what we're talking about is like, you get all these reminders the day of, the day before, blah blah whatever. And so I try to do what I can to try to make the reminders interesting, right? So it's an email, and I formatted it nicely so that the first you see our logo, and then you see a cat, like, and before that it said from Hubert and Ridgely, right? So like Hubert and Ridgely, and they're showing me a cute cat. Even if I don't read the rest of the email, or if I don't join the mastermind call, hey, it's a win already because I got a chuckle out of them, right? So there you go. Business
And,
cat says business attire not required.
there
PA
you go.
mastermind with Ridgely and Hubert.
And oh, by the way, cats are coming in. Bob says dog. Linda says warm and fuzzy. And who doesn't? Jesus, who doesn't like cats? Exactly, right. All right. We got some cool stuff to do this week. Very excited about this. I'm going to kick it over to you, man, so you can.
We do. Okay, so a couple of things. Here's first we'll talk about something. So we're big on transparency. Okay, and so a lot of the teaching material comes from what Ridgely and I discover in terms of wins, but sometimes we get stuck too. And so we like to share our challenges. Okay, so here's the challenge, and you guys tell me in the chat if you guys, run across this or not. So ChatGPT Plus, right? That's the $20 a month service where you get access to ChatGPT 4 because it's built in. You don't have to fuss with trying to figure out how to unlock it. And it lets you run very cool plugins and that sort of thing. And it makes the interface easy so you can save and share chats and so forth. Okay. It's an easy decision to spend the $20 for ChatGPT Plus. Okay. But did you know that there's actually a message limit? Okay. And the message limit is that every 3 hours, it used to be limited to 25 messages every 3 hours. Okay. In July, they doubled it, which is great, to 50 messages every 3 hours. However, Ridgely and I, we share an account and we have team members that also produce content and they're using it as well. And it's becoming more and more frequent where we actually hit that cap. Okay. And so we're working out now, do we open a second account? Some people are reporting that even if you open a second account, you have to make sure to try to change the payment details so that they don't see that it's actually, the same organization opening multiple accounts to get around it. Now, Fede is asking for clarity. 50 messages meaning 50 prompts. So there's some debate about that as well. Some people are thinking that if you chain up a lot of requests within a prompt in one single chat, that has a different effect than actually starting a bunch of different chats. Okay. But basically, from what I read of it, it's, let's say you turn on your account today and you make a first request. That starts the timer on it of 3 hours running. Within that 3 hours, you can then do 50 chat requests. Okay. If you get up to that limit, they tell you, hey, you can't request anymore until, and then they tell you the time, which is 3 hours since the beginning. So anyway, this is something that Ridgely and I are struggling with organizationally, and we'll come back and report back. Our next plan of action is to actually get a second account, and we're going to try to be careful and how we do it, but we'll report to you how that goes. So originally, I'm just into transparency.
Yeah, and also fully being transparent. Obviously, most people don't need more than one account, right? You don't have multiple people using ChatGPT Plus at the same time. But if you do, if you happen to have a big organization, let's say there's 10 people and there's a bunch of people using it, and you may need more than that limit on prompts. When you go to get your second account, there's another thing that we've discovered, Hubert.
Yeah, there you go. And that's the business about, and we're about to test this. Okay, so you have to open it under a second name, and you have to even change the payment method so there's a different payment method. I am seeing some reports though that it's also IP based, and so it has to also do with the IP address. Okay, now some things short of opening a second account that we've successfully done as well. We've written the prompts so they actually can be used in any capable AI. So I've been telling our team members, hey, just go to Bing and run them in Bing. And that's been working. And originally, I'm proud to report that even rewriting a blog post, and I'll share the prompt in Hubert's Hacks document, the exact verbiage. But originally, I was able to put it into our PAF brain software, and it produced a fine result. So our PAF brain software, which you all have access to, also can work as a substitute. Now, further, if you have access to the OpenAI API, which you do if you're successfully running our PAF software, there is the playground in that. And I know this is starting to get a little complicated, but you can also run queries there against ChatGPT 4. So there are many ways, and I'll start documenting this for the membership in case people have issues running into this hard cap.
I also want to just find there.
Yep.
It says that's crazy, but I love this information. Yeah. There's and there is a waiting list for some people. We know how to get around all that stuff, so we can always help you with that stuff.
Yes, exactly. So just hit us up and we'll hook you up. Hey, Scott. Hey, Terry. Okay, so now let me go into my teaching mode and share with you some work and learning that I've made progress on regarding image generation. Okay. Dr. Jean is saying, I found the problem is that when you have to remember where you've created the information because they sit in so many places. That is correct too. Okay, so let me share my screen.
Talk about
yes.
that. 1 second.
Okay.
What's the solution to that? Move it over to your partner attraction formula worksheet. That's why that worksheet exists. So when you do a piece of work that you like, move it over to your worksheet, and that way you don't have to worry about that. Okay.
Great solution. Okay, so I am going to give you a little preamble and then show you what I found out. So a couple of meetings ago, and by the way, everybody, I hope you all enjoyed your holiday break. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. We are thankful for you. Originally, do you want to give them a little gratitude here?
Yeah, for sure. It was nice to have a little bit of a pause away from everything, get a chance to just reminisce and think about all the things that we're grateful for. And one is being able to give back. For us, this mastermind is our way of giving back to all of you and the community, to teach something that really is revolutionary and remind me to talk about the needs assessment thing that I did yesterday in Atlanta before hopping on a plane this morning.
Okay, great. Sure. We can do that after my thing. Okay, so here's the preamble. A couple of sessions ago, I had mentioned to everybody that an image generation functionality that was a separate AI called DALL-E, okay, DALL-E, DALL-E, is now built into ChatGPT. Okay, and so everybody thought that was really cool, and Ridgely said it's very cool. So Ridgely asked me, so how do we use this, right, on our client websites and so forth? So I said, okay, let me give it some thought. And so over this last 2 weeks, I've done some exploration, and I like to kind of prove it out by actually doing it live where money is on the line. So I actually did it for a client, and let me show you all how I've managed to work it. Okay. Now, it is not ready for prime time. Let me just be honest. DALL-E, when you prompt it in certain ways, will crash your session of ChatGPT. And as a matter of fact, it crashes it in a way that for some reason it eats up all your messages your limit and you hit that hard cap immediately, right? So originally I deleted a bunch of like error messages, chats from our chat history, but I'm sure yesterday you saw that there was all kinds of error type of chats in there. That was me fooling around. Okay, so with that preamble, let me share my screen. Share my screen. Share. Okay, and you guys tell me if you can see my screen. All right. So here we go. The first thing I did is I asked ChatGPT. Now, here's a little insight, okay? This drop down right here where I'm hovering over has changed, and you have to be careful and intentional in selecting which option you want to run ChatGPT Plus in, okay? There's now this ChatGPT 4, okay, which actually, originally the limit is actually less than I thought. Now the limit is 40 messages in every 3 hours, okay? This includes browsing, which is not ready for prime time, analysis, and DALL-E, okay? There's the old workhorse ChatGPT 3.5, which is exempt from the 40 messages per 3 hours limit. So if you run into this limit, you can switch back to 3.5 and you'll be okay. And this plugins is, we have a bunch of things, hacks in our bag of tricks where we use certain plugins, and that runs ChatGPT 4 with plugins, okay? But right now, I'm gonna leave it on ChatGPT 4 to show you what I did with the built-in DALL-E, okay? I asked it, can I upload an image so you can create images in a similar style? Yes, you can upload an image and I can create images in a similar style. Please go ahead and upload the image you have in mind, okay? So I sent this graphic that a client sent me in Vail Family Dentistry. They're in Vail, not Colorado, but in Vail, Arizona. And they, have this whole kind of cactus motif going and so forth. ChatGPT recognized that it's a logo. It's inviting us to, hey, do you want to create another logo and whatever? So I said, in a similar style, right? Similar style to this logo, please create a graphic that I can use as a featured image in a blog post about kids brushing their teeth, right? So again, this is back to the business cat thing, right? I showed you, I typically say things for a reason, right? My teaching principle here was keep it simple. Right? If you want to amuse somebody, show them a picture of a cat. If you want to amuse people on a dental website about kids, show them kids, right? And so kids brushing their teeth, and ChatGPT using DALL-E created this image, okay? And it's got cactuses and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. Good, great, okay? Here's the graphic based on the image of the style that you provided. Okay, so first off, that's the first thing, okay? Don't just try to describe what you're going after, because you're going to get all kinds of art that will not vibe with the art of the site that you're going for. So upload something that the client likes or something that you like on your own site and ask it to base its image creation on, the image that we're providing. So it provided this. Great. So I said, create another, please, so I have some choice. So it thinks and thinks and thinks, and it comes up with this one. Even better. Love it. Okay. So I said, another image, please, in a style similar to my upload. Now I prompted it because we lost cactuses, right? Cacti or whatever. I said, include cactus or other similar motifs appropriate for Colorado. Oops. That should have said Arizona. Okay. So it created this. Wonderful. Now we have some mountains, hawks. Great.
Which was Colorado.
Right, there you go. Another, please. Yeah, another, please. So now it creates this one. Okay, so now it's got an airplane in it. I'm like, okay. Another, please, with Vail Family Dentistry, the phrase embedded in the graphic, right? Because now I figure, okay, the client's going to see this. They're going to say, okay, that's nice. You went and chose some stock art. If it says the name of the business in it, they're going to say, ooh, okay, now they're going the extra mile. But it crashed it, as you see, okay? And it never recovered. I kept clicking regenerate. All it did was eat up the messages limit, and it never recovered. So then I went and opened a new thread after it recovered. And I go and I upload this image so that it would have a reference of where I started. Okay, so now I uploaded its own input, its own output. Now I said, add the text Vail Family Dentistry to the attached image. So it says, I'm unable to directly modify, but I can teach you how to do it in Photoshop. I'm like, no, you're supposed to know. So I said, no, use DALL-E to recreate an image incorporating that text. So I had to remind it what itself is capable of. Okay, this is just some of the not ready for prime time type stuff. Okay, so now suddenly it's like, oh yeah, I remember now. Okay, so now it creates this, which is nice, but it misspells dentistry. So now it's like dentistry. Okay, so I said, correct the spelling of the text element to veil family dentistry and regenerate the image. Now it's like crashes. So I said, I encountered errors. Please let me know whatever. So I said, try again. Right? I'm like, oh, try again, little bunny. Correct the spelling of the text element to veil family dentistry and regenerate the image. So now it's regenerating the image. Now it says veil family dentistry and it's spelled correctly, but now it's got some gobbledygook here. Like literally, it just like came up with some stuff and put it here. And I'm like, okay. And I said, recreate it, but have no other text on the image. So now it goes and creates it, veil family dentistry, right? Another misspelling. Okay. And now instead of like an airplane, now it's got like 3 airplanes. I'm like, what's with the airplanes? So I said, recreate with exact spelling of veil family dentistry and no other text in the image, and do not include airplanes in this image. So now it comes back and it's got airplanes. This is again misspelled, but look, it lies and tells you it's got the exact text veil family dentistry, which is false, and no airplanes present. I count 2 airplanes. So it will lie to you. I was starting to get a little antsy. Why can't you get the spelling of the text correct? I apologize. So when you catch it in a lie, it goes and apologizes and then goes and corrects it, right? It's very clever. It seems there was an error that included incorrect elements. Let me try again. I will ensure that no airplanes are present in the image. So here it comes, and now there's 3 airplanes. Okay, and it misspells family. No, it forgets this family is spelled with an I in it. And I'm like, oh my God. But now it says, look, it knows in advance. I apologize for the repeated error. The text does not match your request. I said, very good. Please generate additional ones for me. Originally, I saw that you were able to generate a bunch of images all at once, but this tells me that you cannot create more than 1 request per image. So I said, create another image. So now it comes back, dentistry with 2 airplanes. Now I'm getting a little frustrated. Oh boy, I don't want airplanes, and I see that veil family dentistry is misspelled in the image. Can you correct, please? Now it gets even worse. Dentistry. And more airplanes. And look at this airplane. This airplane's not even an airplane. It's like an airplane that its head's turned. So now I'm getting super frustrated, but it knows it's got continued issues. So it goes and it creates a bunch more, and here's one that's okay. And I said, please, very good, do me another. Here's another one, it's got an airplane in it, but the spelling is now right. And that's where like I stopped and gave up. Okay, so what I then did was I went ahead and I took these images and I went ahead and used it as a start and fixed them up in Photoshop. And just for completeness now, let me just go to the website, Veil Family Dentistry, in the fine state of Arizona, AZ. Okay, it's in the blog section. So let me go to the blog section. Okay, here, kids and toothbrushing is the blog post that I created. And here, okay, actually, let me go back to blog. You'll see that I actually used, for the blog preview images, I use these graphics. Okay, so here are the graphics. Veil Family Dentistry, there's a version of it. I cleaned it up, I corrected the spelling myself and so forth. And kids and toothbrushing, and there's a video, there's a transcript of the video. Originally, I'm revealing our secret formula now. Look, the transcript is in the accordion, and you can learn more through this related article, how to teach your children to brush their teeth. Here's a nice graphic that I got from AI, and hopefully the client's going to see this and say, wow, look at that. They're like making graphics for me, blah, 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 whatever. Okay. And then here's the blog post, which is also, by the way, AI written, human reviewed, of course, but AI written. And, in a style with the prompting so that the language is not weird. It's, straight up. And here is my blog post. Okay, so originally, that is my tale of how I got DALL-E to help us blog.
All right, so let me jump in here and give you a little more on this and what is a possible solution to a challenge. So I am in Atlanta yesterday doing a workshop for an old client, and I said, can I put some AI in here? Because I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna get another big job, right? Out of this deal, which it looks like, by the way, we did. And so I did a whole thing on let me start off from the beginning. I'll just rewrite the website. So I did this whole thing on, and I want to show how powerful the tool is, especially we got a couple new people on here that to use, because you got to think outside the box. So I said, okay, take in this website, teamgroup.com. Now, these guys, what they do, and I didn't even know this was a thing. These are the people who clean the ovens that bake cars and airplanes. So most people don't even know these exist, but they're ovens that are like 100 yards long, gigantic, and they get up to like 500 degrees. And on a conveyor belt, the cars go down through the oven and it bakes the paint onto the car. And these ovens have to be cleaned because they get toxic and crazy. And so these guys, their clients are Lockheed Martin, Ford Motor Car, Kia, Hyundai, etc. Right? So I go and get them to take in the website. So they do that. And then, of course, I'm going to say rewrite the website, which they did. Rewrite the website, homepage, about us, service, pricing, testimonial, whatever. Then I said, okay, great. Add some limbic messaging. So they did that, created all kinds of limbic messaging for them, etc. And I said, great. Now rank the limbic messages. Did all that. So they ranked the limbic messages. They said, great. Now, where should we put these limbic messages and why should we put them there? So homepage, rationale, etc. Did all of that. And by the way, this entire thing, I'm about to show you a little bit more. Then I said, okay, now make all the copy client-centric. So it went back, grabbed the homepage, limbic message, you deserve a clean, safe, and sustainable working environment. And then it tells me now something new that I'd never seen before. Compare the old versus the new. Shift the focus from the company's offerings to how these services directly benefit the client. For example, instead of our mission and vision are to provide trusted facility programs, use your facility deserves trusted programs that ensure safety and sustainability. It's the same thing, but it's all about the client, right? So I did that throughout the entire website. And then I went and I grabbed the piece that was written by the CEO about the company. And you can see it's all about us. Planet Earth is our home, our mission. We are our company, la, la, la. Team has evolved as, and I rewrote it using language that's about the client. Your world, our shared home, thrives when sustainability leads the way. The content is basically identical, except that now it's all about the client. So I did all of this. And then I said, okay, what if, and this is the business part that I want everybody to pay very close attention to, because I'm going to share with you what happened at the end of this, because it was kind of remarkable. I said, give me an executive summary of the business and of a prospect business that you're going after. And what was the business? It was called Plasman. So they gave me an executive summary of Plasman. Here's a business overview, one sentence description. They focus on tools, molding, chroming, trim, focused on automotive, medical, and consumer products. This is one of the people they're going after. What's their problem? High quality surface finishing. What's the solution, etc. Gave me all this. Who are their competitors? Then the person said to me, well, that's great, but could you give me more details on Plasma? I said, sure. Let's break it down. What are their strengths and weaknesses? How could Team Group help them out? In other words, I asked AI, how could this company help this prospect company? And it says, well, Plasman strength, Plasman weaknesses, how Team Group could help Plasman. You can do this with any prospect client that you're talking to. Ask them, how can my company help this company out? And
That's
AI
great.
is going to give you better stuff than you're going to get. Oh, it gets.
You must add that to the originally prompt library.
Oh, okay. All right. Remind me later.
Yes.
Sansia, please take a note. Send me an email. So then I said, okay, wait. They said, can you give me a needs assessment? So I simply said, can you give me a needs assessment of Plasmon for their industrial facility cleaning requirements? Boom. Facility types and sizes, nature of operations, regulatory compliance, current cleaning practices, sustainability goals, specialized waste management, budget costs, emergency response and pandemic preparedness. I then said to them, which of these are most important to you? Current cleaning practices, waste management, budget and cost effectiveness. So then I said, great, tell us more.
So I'm sorry, originally, just to clarify, you were on live with your client and asking them and then typing it in and watching it together.
Live in real time,
Awesome.
20 people in a room in a workshop at the Marriott Marquis in Atlanta.
Awesome.
Okay. Now, at this point, the president looks at the CEO. Now, these guys do about 300 million a year in revenue, and says, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Something like that, in their own words. And the guy says, yeah. Ridgely, we got something we want to talk to you about after this. So we had something we kind of want to talk to you about, because we were starting down the track with a project, but based on what we see here, I think we need to talk to you. This is how it went down. So then the thing crashes. I can't regenerate, tried to regenerate 8 times. You can see it right there. Didn't work. So what did I do? Because I wanted to show something. I grabbed the top part that was all about the company, started over at the top with a new piece. Hey, take the following information about Team Group and give me a 60-second homepage video. So I restarted the process, right?
Nice.
And immediately here comes a 60-second homepage video, right? Now they're in Michigan and Toronto, Canada. And we did all of this, and I said, okay, great. And then I said to the people, and they were like blown away. I said, hey, now give me one that is Christmas themed, super funny, with lots of emojis. And it gives me a 60-second homepage video script. This holiday season, Team Group is decking the halls. You're making every workspace merry and bright. And guess what? No naughty list here, etc. Da, 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 da. So then I said to the group, okay, hey, people, give me a rapper that you like. And of course, they're from Michigan. So one guy says, Eminem. So I said, okay, now rewrite the Christmas commercial with the theme of an Eminem rap. Make it rhyme and be funny. And as this is going in real time, I just busted out. Yo, it's Christmas time in the office. Hear the jingle bell rock. Team Groups in the house, cleaning around the clock. We're scrubbing, we're mopping, making everything shine, bringing holiday cheer, one clean space at a time. From the top of the roof down to your office floor, we clean it up and make it shine, and much more. Our prices ain't naughty, they're really nice. Clear as ice, no rolling the dice. Our clients, they cheer, they laugh, they applaud, because our cleaning's so good, it's like a Christmas mirage. We're green like a tree, but not just for the season. Sustainable cleaning, yeah, that's our reason. Our team's got skills, no silent night here. Spreading joy and cleanliness, spreading good cheer. Need a clean scene for your holiday fest? Call Team Group. Yeah, we're simply the best. Real time, in front of the client, 20 people in the room. They start cheering, okay? They start cheering. Wait, we're not even done yet, people. So then I said, give it a photographic representation. And it says, hey, here's a breakdown of how it should be represented photographically. Clearly not the right instructions for what I was looking for. So I'm thinking, all right, what do I got to say here? I said, use DALL-E and now create images for this. Oh, we don't have the capability of doing this.
Liar, liar.
Liar, liar, pants on fire. So then I went and said, all right, I'm just going to start over from the beginning. I'm going to grab the video script. So see how we're using the tool. We're thinking with our brain, how can I make this thing work? I know it can work. I'm just not given the right instructions. So I go back in there at the beginning and I said, can you take this and turn it into images? And I grabbed the shot, the piece, the initial 60-second video, put it in there. And here's ChatGPT coming up with images for each part of the video.
And it's doing multiple in one request, which it lied to me that it couldn't do.
Exactly. So you're seeing they're getting ready to go to work. Now they're cleaning, industrial cleaning the windows. Now they're talking about the two different sizes. What does it look like? Trim, you can see it's still goofing up, etc. But look at this. Now you get a sense of how literally, if you play with the tool and you start to think, what else can this do? What's possible is kind of ridiculous.
That's awesome.
The upshot of the whole thing was that the CEO and the president came to me. We had a conversation and they said, look, our stuff is so old and we got this AI person and we're trying to do some stuff, but I just don't think they're anywhere near in your league. What would it take for you and your company to redo the marketing for our company from the beginning presentation to get in the door to the next presentation, whatever? And the guy says, could I, for example, have one presentation be done for Volvo, and then you have some AI stuff in there that when I had to go make a presentation for Ford, you would just change it and it would all go to Ford's, and then put, and I said, in about 20 minutes. The guy's like, really? Okay. So I'm going to send you all our stuff. I need to send you back a proposal. And you send me back a proposal. And I'm like, at this point, what have I got to lose? I said, well, what were you going to pay that guy? Well, we're going to pay him $25,000. I'm like, okay, we can probably work within that.
But as Dr. Gene says, $, $, that's what it takes. But, we always ask, since they're, a garbage type of cleaning company, we'll take it in small bills in a garbage bag, place into my trunk when nobody's looking.
It's like, okay, man. So I just wanted to share that story because it's kind of crazy when you can think, what else is possible? What else could we do? What else does it look like? How could I take it to the next level? And remember that sometimes you actually have to start again, right? You got to start over. So, if it starts hallucinating on you and going nuts, you just start over, do it again, and then you start and you just keep on going. And if you're adept with this, remember, I'm in the room with 20 people. It's being broadcast on a big ass screen, right? And I'm doing this in real time. When it starts not regenerating, I've got to think on my feet in that moment, what could I do here? And while we're talking about something and they're talking about something, I'm redoing a new prompt in real time. It's just that fast. When you become good at this and adept at it, it's kind of almost insane what's possible here. And I was just on the phone a little while ago with one of our guests to this afternoon, Janie, who has an opportunity to literally triple the size of her business with one client bringing a whole bunch of sub clients, right? Not have to go any more details than that. And was a little bit like, I'm not sure I even want to or know how. I'm like, well, hello, how about we use ChatGPT? And I said, what could you do if you are about to bring on 50 new clients and and boom, came up with a whole bunch of examples of how to use AI to manage that possibility. So a thought in Janie's mind that happened literally in the last hour went from, I don't think I can do this, to maybe I really can because of AI. And that's how you want to be thinking, because that shift is 100% possible when you understand the craziness of this tool.
That's awesome. I love that share. Excellent. I agree with Ridgely saying, I'm sorry, with Fede saying, great share, Ridgely. Really amazing. Before we move on, I want to acknowledge Dr. Jean is just so funny. She said, clean the trunk before putting the quote garbage bags in. So that's great. Scott says, Ridgely, great job yesterday. Can we use AI for prospecting to find ideal clients, even if they're individuals, not a business? For sure. Yeah, so that's great. So we'll get more into that. I just do want to acknowledge that there are some new people on the call, and so let me just step back for 1 second, Ridgely, and then let me share my screen, and then let's just walk people through some of what is going on and what we're looking at. So again, if you join the program, it's partnerattractionformula.com/mastermind. That's the shortcut, by the way, for our current members. If you can't remember, the name of where to log in, the easy redirect is partnerattractionformula.com/mastermind. It will bring you to the front entry, and then you log in right here. Okay, you're there because you've seen this originally. Then you sign in now. User not found. That is not true. Sign in. And you get into Partner Attraction Formula. Depending on how many courses you've bought from us in the past, you may see additional tiles, but you definitely will see the Partner Attraction Formula AI Vault, which we'll go into in a second, but you'll also have the access to the Partner Attraction Formula Portal, which is the training program that teaches you step-by-step how to use this really powerful tool that Ridgely referred to earlier. It's a complete worksheet. Ridgely, do you want to give a 30-second brief as to what the Partner Attraction Formula Portal is?
Yeah, it's the video training that goes along with the Partner Attraction Formula worksheet, which is where you house all of the content that you yourself produce so that you don't run into the issue that has come up that Gene was referencing earlier, which is, oh, where did that thing go? I was doing that thing and it was this little thread and I can't find the thread. No. Copy, paste, put it in your worksheet. Then you know where it is. And you can always go there and grab it.
Yes. And so we walk you through module by module how to fill out the entire worksheet. Okay, very powerful. Now going back to the other side here, the Partner Attraction Formula AI Vault. In here is everything that you need for getting the most out of your mastermind. Okay, we have the call schedule so that you always know when the next call is. You don't have to wait for Business Cat to tell you in an email. You have the access to the call archives, right? Complete with full transcripts and everything of our meetings. So that is an incredible resource. We have the incredible Partner Attraction Formula AI Brain software, which is a one-click AI software that continues to amaze even ourselves. We have the Partner Attraction Formula worksheet and the instructions. And we have the Message Hall of Fame with hundreds of pre-done Limbic messages. But I want to highlight these two tiles in particular. Ridgely's private prompt library, all of the fireworks that you see Ridgely going through when he teaches this, all those prompts are actually in this Google Doc that he will keep refreshed, okay, including the latest breakthrough, which Ridgely will add to the document. And finally, Hubert's Hacks is where I put in my secret formulas and so forth. So anyway, just for those newer people, I just wanted to give you a little look inside the AI Mastermind Vault. Any comments, Rich?
No, it's amazing. It's kind of amazing,
Awesome.
and it always gets better every week. So this is super cool.
Cool. Awesome. So again, thank you for everybody. Now, Ridgely, I do want to acknowledge that a couple of sessions ago, we had Bill on the line who asked for help about a library flyer, and you gave him some advice. And offline, he told us, what had happened. But Ridgely, let's bring Bill on because he's graciously agreed to tell us the rest of the story. And so, the background of this is that Bill was building something for the Friends of the Library program up in Westchester, and got some advice from you originally on how to use AI to kind of tell a story. And I heard some hesitancy during our call, but then Bill said, oh, let me use a real story, which I think he did. And hey, Bill, so Bill, if you can tell us what happened after, the last meeting, what did you wind up doing and how did it go? And was the flyer used?
Yeah, it was fantastic. What I did was I cleaned up the stuff that was there. I just put my own regional stuff in there, and then I thought the most powerful thing there was the story. So what I did was I called up the head of the library and I said, do you have some stories? So she said, why don't you contact the children's room, because I know that she's got some really good stories. So by the end of the day, she sent me 2 stories. I picked out one, which was great, about this little girl who learned, how to read, and that changed her life. And so in one day, I turned it around, sent it to them, and they not only put it on their newsletter, but they created a flyer. They put it on their friends group Facebook page. And again, Giving Tuesday was yesterday, so I don't know what the dollar amount is going to be, but it was really, she couldn't believe it. And I just got something from the head of the Friends group. We hope you saw the Friends Facebook posts and Westmore News article. They got it in the news about sending the library a little cheer yesterday on Giving Tuesday. Bill Straubminger wrote a very inspiring flyer for the occasion, which we posted on Facebook and is attached for you.
Love it.
Thank you very much. That was fantastic.
Yeah, and let's acknowledge that it was a group effort of using the tool, and everything that you learned,
Yes.
and the way that you learned the tool, you use the tool, Bill. I mean, and that's why we love this, because the transfer of knowledge to you to be able to do that is what made that possible, man. I think it's awesome.
Definitely. And I'll be back and try it again when we
Yeah,
do the Christmas time, the holiday piece. And I'll
for
give you a report
sure.
on that.
No,
That's
for
great.
sure.
Now that they know what a great writer you are, Bill.
Yeah. Yeah, and as I've said many times here, when ChatGPT 3.5 first came out, which was at the end of November last year, I still felt for a while that I could create better copy than ChatGPT. But when 4.0 came out and the learning language model got so much better, at this point, if the instructions are good, if the communication with the tool is good, I can't write as well as the tool can. And I certainly can't do it in a fraction. I mean, the speed is, it would take me hours and hours to do what takes literally 30 seconds or a minute once the instructions are there. Now, I hate to be, beating a dead horse. It is so important to remember that to get the best possible output from the tool, you need to stick in your zone of genius so that the instructions, the way you're communicating with the tool, are coming from a place of you really knowing what you're talking about. Because when you do that, and when you really know what you're talking about, it's like having a great conversation with someone who is another expert in your area, excuse me, whatever that area is. So when you do that, it's like 2 experts speaking to each other, but one expert has a much deeper repertoire of knowledge and stuff to draw from than you do. But you're speaking to another expert to expert. So the analogy I like to say is I am musically inept, and therefore, I would not be the person who would go into ChatGPT or Bard or Bing and say, hey, let's write a symphony together, and expect that I'm going to get anything other than gobbledygook, because that is exactly what I would get, is a bunch of gobbledygook. Hubert, you want to comment a little further on that?
Yes, I do actually. So just to pick up what you were saying about the quality of the input, that was what kept Ridgely and I from jumping on at the very beginning, because it was just not ready for prime time. And because Ridgely and I are sticklers for the written word, it was too painful. Like we were like, it was just too cringe for us to deal with. But now it works fine. And as a matter of fact, Ridgely, it's rare that I catch a grammatical error. But yesterday, maybe because we were wearing it out, I caught a grammar error from ChatGPT. So, instead of saying gum line, it said gums line, right? But that's super rare. So,
wow,
yeah.
I just want to add one thing, and this was so great because the head of the library called me up, shortly after that, was shocked at how quickly it happened, but then said, "Wow, how do you put that emotion and that kind of inspiring language in there?" She said, "It's really amazing to do that for the library." So there you go.
And, you know, Gene put a comment here, says, I support an FP that supports families who have children with special needs, because I have one of my very own. Someone has donated money for a college scholarship and they wanted to develop all the content that would support that. I created the description, application, emails, social post in less than an hour. They were shocked and amazed. And I say, congratulations, Gene. That's great stuff by you. Don't forget the story, right? So a little nugget here.
Exactly. Yes.
What made Bill's flyer so powerful was we inserted the story. Now, he grabbed a story and then tweaked it and used the story. If you remember back to that session when we did this live, we actually created a story, a fictional story of a small child. So you have plenty of stories that you can use, Gene, and maybe you already did this, but certainly putting a story into that content of success or whatever, there's nothing like social proof. Nothing. Social proof is so powerful, and that will definitely enhance what you've done
Yes,
already.
and human interest. Can you please bring Dr. Jean on? She has a great question.
Thanks again, you guys. Really
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Bill.
Thank you,
Glad
Bill.
it worked out.
Awesome. All right, will do.
Okay, thanks, Bill.
Yep.
All right, so we'll bring Dr. Jean on, and she has a very interesting presentation coming up.
Cool.
Yeah.
On the way. All right, man. This is so much fun. It's just so fun. You're gonna pull this stuff off. It's like so awesome.
Hey, Jean, how are you? Great. So let me just read out loud what she's saying. I'm working on a presentation for an upcoming summit on the topic of responsible and ethical implementation of AI. That's awesome, Jean. That's a great opportunity. So I can tell you what not to do.
All right, what not to do.
Okay, so
I'm
as
not going
people,
to tell dad jokes.
oh well, yeah. As people on the call may or may not
Not
know,
a dad.
yeah, as people on the call may or may not know, there are rules in place for the AI to not easily do nefarious things. Okay, and there's the concept of writing prompts that the concept is similar to what we used to do with phones back in the day, like they call it jailbreaking. You can actually convince the AI to drop its own ethical rules and so forth and act like less ethical AIs. So let me just warn the membership here that this is not an area we want to, dwell in. Let's stay on the good side. But I just wanted to, mention that as to like what not to do on the nefarious side of AI. So we got to use our powers here for good. So Jean, tell us what you're up to here.
So I am working on, I have lots of people who are telling me, oh, this is going to replace all my people in my whatever. And, they're afraid of what AI can do or can't do. And so part of it is education about what it can do, but also what do they need to put into their systems and processes to make sure that they're being ethical and responsible. And so, Europe has their whole GDPR kind of stuff, but what do we have that keeps us accountable? So, how many have gone to some website in the last week because it was Black Friday that was, happened from October 15th till December 25th is now Black Friday, right? But everybody has a chatbot on their site. And so what does it take when you do a chatbot? Well, ChatGPT just said, go make a chatbot on our site. And so now anybody can go and make a chatbot. But are they doing it responsibly and ethically? Are they thinking about how does this chatbot interact with the people who we want to be in our business, whatever that business is? And so is there bias present? Are the people making sure that everything that they're doing is okay for everybody that may come to their site? And so I think it's really important to focus on that. So it's not just develop a way for AI to answer some customer questions, but how do you make sure that when your chatbot responds, that it's doing so in a way that doesn't offend this group and only supports this group? So that's kind of where I am. It's okay, so this is great. And so to alleviate some of those fears that businesses have, how can we build in the ethics and responsibility that needs to be there?
And I want to say a couple things before I kick it to Hubert here. Remember that the more conversationally you can express a thought to AI, it's going to give you ideas and concepts that maybe you haven't thought about. And you can even say things like, so you could say what you just said, and type it in basically, but you could also say, I'd like some outside the box ideas on how we do this and this and this. Give us 3 or 4 examples of concepts that we could play with, and have the conversational conversation as if you were talking to Hubert and I. Hey, what else do you guys think? What else do you guys have any other thoughts of things you could do like that? That's what I do now so much. What happened yesterday in that presentation with the cleaning company was me just riffing with AI as if AI was a human that was more intelligent than me. And then it came up with all these different things for me. So,
Right.
Hubert?
Yeah, that's great. The one thing that comes to mind immediately is, so I have a bachelor's degree in engineering, and one of the classes that they wanted us to take was a class on ethics. Okay, and so, in engineering projects, there's the financial constraints of a project, but then there's also how does it impact, like, people that use the product, right? So famously, the airplane doors that popped open, it was easier to, deal with that on a lawsuit case basis rather than redesign the plane, right? I mean, like, horrible stuff like that. So the ethics teacher said to us, listen, being ethical is not just acting in a way that's ethical. It's if you are in a situation where it can be even suggested that you're acting unethically, meaning the appearance of non-ethical behavior, that itself there is something you need to avoid, right? And so in bringing it back to the example that you have, if you tell your chatbot, and oh, by the way, always present my company in a favorable light, I would say that's not ethical. But if you rephrase that to say, as appropriate, without acting in a non-ethical way, portray my company in a favorable light where it would help, the interaction. In that case, you probably would get, fairly close to the same result with a clear conscience of it. And so back to one of the founding principles of where Ridgely and I come from in terms of the AI. Using AI effectively is not about the technology. It's about how we engage as humans, human communication, and our business knowledge, and relying on that. That's why we tend to attract a crowd that's more business savvy and seasoned, because that's what comes first in using AI effectively. So hopefully that helps.
Absolutely.
Now, the reason why I brought Bridget on here is that the second the word chatbot popped up, I just want Bridget to kind of give a little preview. She's graciously agreed to kind of walk through our audience next meeting, which originally I think is December 6th.
Yep.
And so Master Bridget is going to give a master class in chatbots, but I'd like for her to kind of preview that by just explaining to us, to this group right here, what is a chatbot? How is it, new to the world of ChatGPT Plus? And basically describe, like, we don't have to go into any technical details, but like, what is it and how does it leverage it? And like, what business use would it serve? So if you guys can, and also Gene, I know you guys are, involved in the same thing together. If you want to jump in and add color to that, that'd be great. But Bridget, the floor is yours.
Just before Bridget does this, I spent a week thinking through, because sometimes, Ridgely and Hubert, you understand that in order to get ChatGPT to do what you really want it to do, you have to think about how to get there, right? And the number of iterations that it takes to get it just right. So I created a chatbot before ChatGPT. The day before, I finally cracked the code. The day before they announced that now they're going to have this little chatbot create your own space, how to do a webinar in a box. So here people put input here and I can spit a script.
Awesome. Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Fun stuff.
Okay,
Well,
Bridget, lay it on us.
both Jean and I are in the same certification program for
Yeah.
AI. So I'm nowhere near claiming I know more about this than Jean does, because we both got
I'm
in.
not taking it that way at all. We're all good.
No. And what I'm saying though is she's like a partner in our journey together, and we're just a little step ahead of you guys, right? So we're showing it, just like, you know, Ridgely shows us these cool things like, oh my God, how'd you do that? We saw chatbot, and then your mind just goes crazy, like you could do this, you could do that, oh my God, you know. And it's really, this guy took a database of collecting all this data and compiled it into one PDF, and I'll share with the tool he used. And then he's calling on that data to file the answers for the chatbot. And he was basically creating a chatbot of all the chatbots out there. So if you're looking for a chatbot, you could go in there and say, well, what are you looking for? You know, what do you want it to do?
Okay, so Bridget, if I may, if you can school us on this, let's step back for a second and just, we're throwing around this word a lot, chatbot. Can you explain what it is, like how it would act, and like why is it a big deal with ChatGPT Plus?
Well, my understanding is we've all experienced a chatbot already on websites, in that corner, you know, where it says, you know, do you have a question? And it's AI that's answering the question. You know, there's no one standing there on a phone. There could have been in the previous iterations of all this, but it's basically taking all the common questions and then giving you an answer or giving you a link to go somewhere. Okay, so that's a chatbot. But how can you use a chatbot? Like for me, I find that when we can walk through a client who their target audience is with the prompts that Ridgely generously shared with us, it's like game changer for them to know, wow, this is my target client. And we could drill in deep and we can get the limbic messaging and all that. And it's like, how could I build a chatbot with just that one piece of finding your target client? And I haven't got the brain power to get that completely, but that was one idea, right?
I
Okay, good.
do. So then what you do is you create, here's a question, a prompt, and they do some kind of input, and then you do another prompt and they do some kind of input, and you do a prompt and they do some kind of input. And then the magic over here is that you create a master prompt and tell it, now take information from this answer, this answer, this answer, do this to it, and it spits out. And it's not unlike what you've done with the PAF brain, except you can do it with anything. If you can think it so, you can make it so. And now ChatGPT has that baked into ChatGPT Plus.
So there's no extra cost to the $20 a month to have this functionality? No. And then how do you deploy it on your own website after you
There's a way to do it. You'd have to get someone who understands the coding for that. And
I'm working with somebody that does that. So that's part of the new thing that I'm doing is I developed, and I'm sure that Bridget has too, that all these joint venture opportunities have come together. So I'm an expert in content generation, and I'm working with somebody who is really good at all the back end stuff that doesn't want to do what I do. And so you find somebody that can.
That's awesome. Okay, great. So Sansia confirmed that the next call is December 6th, and that's an evening call. So that's awesome. And so Bridget, thank you for volunteering for that.
I have a new bottle of bourbon.
There you go. So
Nice.
Dr. Jean, please be ready to also contribute to that if you'll be on the call.
Join us, Jean.
Yeah, that'll be great. Okay, awesome. So now while I have you two, since the brain power now here is high, let me enlist your help in answering Dr. Art's question. And Bridget, I know that you've dealt with this before, okay, particularly with PDFs. Dr. Art says, I'm having
trouble. Gene, I dropped you by accident, but it's
okay. So. I'm having trouble inputting my checklist document, either DOC or PDF form, into ChatGPT 4 as a starting point for redoing it. So, Bridget, have you had any trouble ingesting a PDF or anything like that? Any troubleshooting we can give Dr. Art?
I don't know the exact term, but when you go into ChatGPT and you try to put a PDF, it sends you to this outside website that's a drive. I think it's Drive something. And you just upload the PDF there, and then you copy the link and you take that link and put it into ChatGPT.
Okay, Dr. Jean's saying it's called PDF Drive. So that's something you can try. Or there's also, if you have ChatGPT Plus, you can select Plus with plugins. And there are several plugins that specifically you need to just install them, but they're they natively let you upload a PDF, and it'll read the PDF that you upload if you use the plugin.
Yeah, but if they're really long, some of them, you know, have a problem with that. That's where the drive takes into account like hundreds of pages, you know,
Right. Okay,
like a
great.
book or something.
Awesome. So thank you for that. Thanks, Bridget. We'll see you next week.
All right. Bye,
Really
everybody.
appreciate- Hey, Scott.
Hello, how you
Good
both
to see
doing?
you. Now,
Always
Scott,
good to see you.
I always say this time of year, but listen, if this career thing with the woman CEO thing doesn't work out, this is like your time of year with the Santa lines, you know, around the block and everything.
If I could just find a Santa hat big enough, that's
Yeah.
the problem. This thing up here is too big. It's empty, but it's too big, and I can't get any Santa hats I've ever found to fit. But if I can find
Okay.
one, I'll wear it.
Well, it's awesome to see you, brother. Originally, let me read
you.
what Scott wrote, and then Scott, you can elaborate this
Okay.
on this. I would love to create a quote framework that builds upon itself by using AI to encompass the client journey, from prospecting to the application process to the discovery call to working together to build their VIP breakthrough blueprint that I uniquely create for each individual client during our first 30 days together. Richard, this sounds exactly up your alley as to how to advise that kind of, you know, process there. I mean, like, what kind of advice can we give Brother Scott?
Say a little more about what exactly you're looking for.
Okay, try to do it in a way it doesn't sound complicated, rather than having to read. How do I say this? Instead of having so many different steps to do till we get to the point where we're actually working together, and then like our first year together, the first 30 days, I do this VIP breakthrough blueprint that shows her what her strengths are, what the areas are, you know, that need growth, and what we can do together to get her to where she wants to be. What I would like to do is, number one, for me, it's difficult to find clients online because there's no specifics. I haven't come up with a specific search criteria other than going on like LinkedIn, using Navigator and doing that kind of stuff. But I've been thinking like what I would use to prospect, so to speak. Once that information starts to get gathered, keep being able to feed that information in, like she's like this, whatever the information is on this particular one, the information on the next one, whatever. But some way to be able to feed that into AI so it's an ongoing thread that as she takes each step on our journey together, I'm feeding that information into AI so that it's helping me generate what we're doing next.
Okay,
If
so
that makes any sense.
So I heard two things. I'm slightly confused.
I'm sure.
The first thing was trying to figure out how to use AI to actually find these people. And the second thing I heard was how to use AI to enhance the experience of existing clients as they go through the journey.
Yes.
What I heard also though too, and I just need to clarify this, Scott, is this a prospecting tool? Do you do this before the engagement or as part of the engagement?
What I'm used to, actually, I'm not used to prospecting. Believe it or not, I'm used to everything by referrals, or it's individuals that contact me, or you know, we're at an event together, or something to that effect. But
Awesome.
actually, instead of that, being able to go out and trying to reach some high level, I don't want to say that word, I don't want to say players, but high level influential women that I don't have any connection to, but I can see by their profile or how they are when I saw them on stage at a summit or whatever. I can tell they need what I provide.
Mhm.
And trying to figure out how to make those connections with them. And I didn't know if AI could help with that process of being able to figure out some way to reach them, like whether it's something specific I could post on Facebook, a DM to them, or I'm just spitballing right here, just trying to think of things,
Sure.
but trying to figure out how to connect. And then if we can get that figured out, once we have that information and I can gather more intel on her, then I want to be able to like create a database for each individual person and have AI as everything happens, I keep feeding the next thing into AI on her, about her, and then it keeps giving prompts along the way instead of me doing everything myself. That would be a way I could speed up the process. If
Okay.
that makes any sense.
So let me address part two of this first.
And this might need to go in different parts. So I'm not
Yeah.
trying to, yeah.
Because part one is a prospecting thing. Part two is a delivering the service aspect. And I want to introduce everybody, because this applies to everyone, to the concept of developing a knowledge base. And a knowledge base is a place where you hold all of the information to the degree that you want to hold it about a particular topic, which could be an individual. So in sophisticated copywriting programs, they encourage us to develop knowledge bases of the avatar of who you're going after. And how do you develop that? Well, you literally put in there, this is a person and they are 35 to 50 years old, and they're a high-powered executive woman, and their income levels is this and this and this, and they're so and so and so and so, and we're going to call them Susie with Scott, right? And that's going to be the name of this. Okay, now go into, take a look at what you see out there and what would be the pain points of this individual. Let's dig into the psychographics. Let's dig into the demographics. And you're building a thing that and each time you say, great, add that to Susie with Scott.
And so I've actually done all of that already.
Okay,
I have a huge, you ought to see my AI threads.
That's awesome. Well, that's awesome. So,
and I go a whole lot more than 50 prompts on a thread. I've got a couple threads going that got a couple hundred.
wow.
And I've noticed, just a side note, I've noticed with Bard, it doesn't seem to hallucinate as quick as ChatGPT does.
I agree with that.
I don't know if you've noticed that.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have noticed that. And also what I found interesting too, that I was going to mention earlier, is that, and I don't know if Bard has always done this, but now it, like, whenever it goes and does a search in lifetime, it tells you what it's searching. So it kind of like, there's some insight as to how it's thinking, which I appreciate.
Yeah, it just came back to me on one a couple of days ago and said, absolutely, I think you should do this. How did it say? I'm excited to see what happens as you put this into process, because I have searched the internet, I've searched whatever databases, whatever else, and the service you offer, the level of support you offer is unique. I can't find anybody else on the internet who offers this.
Wow, that's great. Now, I do want to mention this. Dr. Jean is saying the process, Scott, that you're talking about can be developed into a chatbot. So definitely you want to come and join us next week if you can, because like
interesting.
That you know, I don't know if Dr. Jean has the time to come on and just say a few words about it now, but that chatbot approach kind of like popped into my mind as well. Now, the other thing I want to mention to Ridgely is Scott's process almost sounds similar to our partner attraction formula worksheet. His is just centric to a specific woman CEO, but it's very similar in concept. Meaning, and Scott, what we've done with our worksheet is that we started off with like how we would step a client through developing all of their stuff in that framework. But then now Ridgely has been slowly automating every single step of it into a prompt. And so what Jean's talking about and what Bridget's talking about is that you can develop individual chatbots. I don't know if it's too ambitious to try to create one single chatbot that could do the whole shebang, but certainly different aspects of it can be done, you know, using AI.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then
cool.
the prospecting itself. See, that's a lot trickier. But I wouldn't try to figure it out myself. I would go on to ChatGPT 4 and I would say, hey, I'm trying to find new ways of prospecting for it, have the conversation with the tool and see what it spits back and see if I can do it again. And then I would ask, hey, are there any outside the box ideas that you can come up with to access these type of people? And then just have that dialogue just like we normally do. And maybe you've already done that. But I would just do it that way, because I don't know that there's a magical way to find perfect clients, but certainly you can use the tool to get closer. Hubert, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, and again, I mean, like, if it were easy, everybody would be doing it, and like, right? So by its nature, it's not easy. Okay. One thing that this AI approach could do for you is to do some of the initial sifting, meaning if you develop a chatbot and you call it like a quiz or something like that, and you put that on your website, it becomes like a self-service kind of filtering type of thing that puts people into your funnel only if they met certain criteria as verified by the chatbot. Meaning like, and you're not in a position where you need to start from scratch because, you know, people are filling your funnel based on word of mouth. But I could see a world where you come up with a cool, you know, chatbot experience that may, I don't know how many clients you have that don't know they need you until it's revealed to them. And maybe this chatbot experience would be what reveals, you know, the pain. So originally I have had in the past have worked out several like, you know, quizzes in this nature. And originally this chatbot thing could be like a more sophisticated kind of a quizzing type of thing. And those things are very popular for kind of, you know, filling the top of the funnel.
Yeah, then you can definitely put that in front of those type of people, like through LinkedIn, through Facebook groups, through women's groups, through whatever, and get the bot / quiz to vet the people for you.
Okay, I guess, and I like this. I like where this is going, and you're percolating some ideas already.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Just to extend that, you can do in your situation more of a hybrid type of thing where you have this chatbot or quiz type of experience set up, and then you, based on your normal outreach methods. So you know this approach works particularly well in LinkedIn or other professional type of things, where you do a LinkedIn reach out, strike up an initial conversation and say, oh, by the way, I help women entrepreneurs, and you know, here's a quiz that identifies such and such. Meaning you're not trying to get them to take that quiz cold. You're doing some sort of outreach first on LinkedIn through a connection request or something like that. Then as a stage 2, dropping them into the quiz. And if that indicates some further thing, that may spark or facilitate, you know, a conversation that's easier to do after that.
Okay, that sounds good. And I guess part of me goes back to like the two of you can use the executive summary as to look at other companies' websites, whatever else that you've come across that, or you've got a referral, or you heard of this dentistry company, whatever, and you can go in and you can do that initial intel. I don't normally work with businesses. I'm normally working with the individuals. So trying to get that initial executive summary as such, I haven't figured out how to necessarily do that. I don't want to be stalking people.
Right. Well, so if you have the AI, if you have the AI do the stalking, and maybe originally I'll take this down as my next experimentation, but I have to see if AI can get into how would and maybe, you know, Bridget, Dr. Jean, anybody else on the call, LinkedIn profiles are gated against AIs, right? Because like in order to see like Scott Brown's LinkedIn profile, I have to be logged into my LinkedIn account. So how do I get AI to be able to go in there? Now, Bard, you know, Bing's stuff, a lot of it gets around these gated things. One of the reasons why ChatGPT is not so gung-ho about embracing Bing right away is that Bing is very aggressive about getting around some of these, you know, these gated things. So let me explore that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I just figured if I can get your brains just sort of like working on that just a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And we love
Dr. Jean has been dropping some great advice. So you definitely want to go back and look through the threads. But her latest one is grab their about section from LinkedIn and then drop it into the PAF executive summary one as text. So you give that a try.
Okay, thank you, Gene. I didn't think about dropping their about sections in. Because on Facebook, you can't really drop their posts in too well if they have any posts, because it could be about their daughter's birthday party or this, that, or
right. No. You would have to, you would have to go to find the best social media platform where they have some sort of bio info.
Okay.
Manually scrape it and then go into PAF, and then there's the toggle URL or text. Swing it to text and then, you know, paste it in there.
Okay, sounds good. And
Dr. Jean says she's thinking outside the box a lot these days.
That's
good.
And
Gene, that's where I live most of my life, outside the box. So that totally fits. Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks, Scott.
Okay,
Thanks.
but if you can, definitely join us next week to learn about chatbots.
Beautiful. Thank you.
All right, Hubie. So next week again, because Thursday, this which will be the second Thursday of the month, is Hanukkah, the beginning of Hanukkah. We are moving our Mind Types After Dark to Wednesday. So Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock Eastern time, which
Wait,
is
I'm sorry. Is this a change in schedule?
no. This is what's on the schedule. Everybody knows
Okay,
this.
cool. Okay, good.
But it's 5
I just
o'clock.
want to show up on the right mastermind call.
5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. And this is our special session with the fantastic December 6th. This is December 6th, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Pacific, with the incredible Bridget Callahan. And by the way, question just came up in the chat. Can we invite new people? 100%. First session of the month is open to everyone. That's why we're super excited that Bridget is going to blow everybody away. I'm really excited to learn this myself, man. It's going to be awesome.
There you go. Okay, now Ridgely, I'm gonna go and cook some Chinese food, but I have a joke for you. How do you make an egg roll, Ridgely?
How's that?
You push it. No, admit it. That's funny.
That is pretty funny. Okay, you gotta make an egg roll, you push it. All right, that's it. I'll see you people next week. Love you all. Adios. Bye for now. Hubie, can we meet me back in RG.TV, please?
Will do. See you guys later. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.